Before artificial light. Before nights were interrupted. There was a time when light arrived briefly and left without resistance. This film moves slowly. Images remain still for long moments. The narration stays low and unobtrusive. Nothing here needs to be followed. Nothing needs to be remembered. This is not a story with direction. It is an environment. A space where light once meant something because it did not stay. If you are listening while resting, or drifting towards sleep, there is nothing you need to do. Let the sound remain in the background. Let attention come and go. This film will continue whether you are listening or not. Night was not something to escape. It was something people lived inside. There was no switch to change it. No way to thin it. No way to soften it on demand. Darkness arrived fully. It did not stop at walls. It did not pause at shelters. It did not retreat when eyes opened. Night filled everything evenly. The sky held only what it always held. Stars. The moon, when it appeared. Nothing else cut through it. There were no distant lights. No glowing edges. No soft halos behind hills. Darkness remained complete. The fire was not always present. It had to be made. It had to be kept. When it was gone, the night returned untouched. People did not expect visibility. They did not assume clarity. Seeing was limited. Knowing was limited. And that was normal. The night did not feel empty. It felt full. Sounds traveled differently. Distances felt closer, then farther. Nothing was fully revealed. Nothing was fully hidden. Shapes dissolved quickly. Edges softened. The eye learned not to search too far. Looking too long did not bring more detail. It only brought strain. So attention rested closer. Near the body. Near the ground. Near the breath. The night did not interrupt itself. There was no sudden brightness. No artificial dawn. Darkness stayed consistent. It did not compete with light. It did not need to. Light was rare. And because it was rare, it mattered. Darkness did not arrive suddenly. It settled. Slowly at first. Then completely. There was no moment to mark its beginning. No signal that announced its presence. It simply became everything. People did not wait for it. They did not prepare for it. Night was not an event. It was the default state. The body learned to move differently within it. Steps became shorter. Hands stayed closer. The ground mattered more. Listening replaced looking. Small sounds carried weight. A movement nearby. A breath. Distance was not measured by sight. It was felt. The dark did not promise safety. But it did not promise danger either. It offered uncertainty. Uncertainty did not create panic. It created caution. Caution slowed everything. Slowness allowed the night to remain whole. Nothing rushed forward. Nothing pushed through. Without light, nothing demanded speed. Eyes adjusted slowly. Not to see clearly, but to accept less. Acceptance reduced effort. There was no expectation of clarity. Seeing clearly was not a goal. Being present was enough. The night did not reveal paths. It suggested directions quietly. A shadow shifted. A shape disappeared. The body learned when to stop. Stopping did not feel like loss. It felt like alignment. Stillness made sense here. The night did not punish inactivity. It supported it. Movement was optional. Rest was natural. Darkness did not challenge the body. It slowed it into balance. Nothing glowed in the distance. Nothing pulled attention away. Attention stayed close. Close to breath. Close to warmth. The night did not fracture itself. It remained uninterrupted. Darkness did not ask to be understood. It did not explain itself. People did not search for meaning inside it. Meaning comes from clarity. Clarity was absent. What remained was presence. Presence did not need light. The body learned where it was without seeing. The ground spoke through pressure. The air spoke through temperature. The night was not silent. It was quiet in layers. Sounds appeared and disappeared without warning. No sound stayed long enough to be traced. Tracing requires visibility. Visibility was limited. The mind stopped extending outward. It folded inward. Thoughts slowed. Not because they were guided. Because nothing provoked them. Without artificial light, nothing stayed awake by force. Awake was a temporary state. Fatigue arrived gently. Not as exhaustion. As settling. Eyes closed more often. Not to sleep immediately. But to rest from searching. Searching required light. Without light, searching ended. The night did not challenge awareness. It reduced it. Reduced awareness did not feel like loss. It felt like relief. No one felt behind. No one felt late. Time was not visible. Without visible time, urgency disappeared. The body returned to slower rhythms. Breath deepened slightly. Movement softened. No one tried to resist the dark. Resistance requires opposition. Opposition requires awareness of contrast. Contrast was minimal. Darkness did not stand against anything. It simply was. And because it was complete, it did not need to be fought. The fire, when present, did not break the night. It sat inside it. Light did not expand outward endlessly. It stayed close. Beyond it, darkness remained untouched. This separation mattered. Light had boundaries. Darkness did not. People understood this without explanation. They did not expect the night to retreat. They lived inside it. Darkness shaped behavior without instruction. No one needed to be told how to move. No one needed rules. The body learned by existing inside it. Steps shortened naturally. Arms stayed closer to the torso. Balance mattered more than speed. Speed belonged to light. Darkness belonged to balance. The night did not reward haste. Rushing led nowhere. Without distant visibility, there was no advantage in moving quickly. Everything important was near. Near the body. Near the ground. Distance lost its meaning. Far places did not call. Nothing glittered beyond reach. Attention stayed local. Local attention reduced strain. The eyes no longer scanned. They rested. Resting eyes changed the mind. Thoughts slowed further. They no longer stacked. One thought did not push the next. There was space between them. Space allowed quiet. Quiet did not feel empty. It felt sufficient. The night did not need to be filled. Filling implies lack. Lack was absent. Darkness held everything evenly. No area felt more important than another. Importance requires contrast. Contrast was minimal. The ground underfoot mattered. The air against skin mattered. Everything else softened. The night reduced choices. Fewer options meant less decision. Less decision meant less tension. The body relaxed into this reduction. Shoulders lowered. Jaw softened. Muscles released gradually. Nothing demanded readiness. Without artificial light, there was no reason to stay alert. Alertness faded on its own. Awareness did not shut off. It dimmed. Dim awareness did not disappear. It became background. The night carried it gently. When light appeared, it did not dominate. A small flame. A brief glow. Enough to gather around. Not enough to replace the dark. Beyond its edge, night remained whole. The boundary was clear. Light stayed contained. Darkness stayed expansive. This balance was understood instinctively. The night did not belong to light. Light existed inside it. And when light faded, nothing changed. Darkness did not return. It had never left. The night did not need to be protected. It did not need to be defended from light. Light was not powerful enough to replace it. A flame could warm. It could reveal a small circle. But it could not thin the darkness beyond it. Darkness remained the larger condition. People understood this without language. They did not expect to control the night. They adapted to it. Adaptation did not feel like compromise. It felt like alignment. The body adjusted posture. The mind adjusted expectation. Nothing was lost. What disappeared was excess. Excess of seeing. Excess of movement. Excess of knowing. Without artificial light, knowledge had edges. Those edges were accepted. Not everything needed to be seen. Not everything needed to be known. The night allowed uncertainty to exist without tension. Uncertainty did not demand resolution. It stayed. Staying did not cause discomfort. Discomfort comes from resisting conditions. Resistance was unnecessary. The night was complete as it was. Eyes closed more often. Not as sleep. As rest from effort. Effort belonged to light. Darkness reduced effort naturally. The body leaned into stillness. Stillness did not feel imposed. It felt permitted. No one feared missing something. Missing implies something happening elsewhere. Elsewhere did not exist in the dark. Everything that mattered was near. Near enough to feel. Near enough to hear. Nothing called from far away. Distance lost its pull. Without pull, the body softened further. Breath slowed. Not because it was guided. Because nothing hurried it. The night did not create silence. It created space for sound to fade. Sound faded without echo. Nothing lingered. The mind followed this pattern. Thoughts appeared. Then dissolved. No thought stayed long enough to demand response. Response requires urgency. Urgency did not exist. The night remained uninterrupted. Not because it was protected. Because nothing could interrupt it. Without interruption, the night shaped time differently. Time did not advance in steps. It did not announce itself. There were no markers to follow. No glow to signal passing. No brightness to divide moments. Darkness held everything together. Moments blended gently. One did not replace another. They overlapped. The body stopped checking for change. Change happened quietly. A shift in temperature. A shift in posture. Nothing dramatic. The night did not surprise. It settled. People did not feel urgency to remain awake. Wakefulness did not need defense. When eyes closed, nothing was lost. Nothing important required watching. The fire, when present, stayed modest. It did not demand attention. It did not compete with darkness. It offered a small center. Beyond that center, night continued untouched. This taught an unspoken boundary. Light was local. Darkness was total. The two did not fight. They coexisted. The body learned where safety lived. Not far. Not beyond reach. Safety lived close. Close to warmth. close to stillness. Nothing pulled the body outward. The world did not extend endlessly in the dark. It felt contained. Containment did not feel restrictive. It felt manageable. Without distant visibility, imagination softened. There was no horizon to project onto. Projection creates thought. Thought creates activity. The night reduced both. Activity slowed. Thought thinned. What remained was simple awareness. Awareness without direction. The night did not guide. It allowed. Allowed the body to settle. Allowed the mind to quiet. No one waited for something to happen. Waiting implies expectation. Expectation did not form. The night did not offer spectacle. Nothing unfolded dramatically. It remained steady. Steadiness was enough. Enough to rest inside. Enough to stop searching. Enough to let the body release control. The night did not need to end. It did not need to transform. It remained uninterrupted. And inside that continuity, people rested. Seeing less was not considered a loss. It was the normal state of being. The eye did not expect to reach far. It did not assume access to everything. Vision stayed close to the body. What could not be seen did not demand attention. The unseen did not create anxiety. Anxiety comes from expecting control. Control was limited. And that limitation was accepted. The night did not promise clarity. Clarity was not the goal. Knowing less did not feel like ignorance. It felt like balance. The body did not strain to compensate. It did not search for detail beyond reach. Searching would have cost energy. Energy was conserved. Seeing less reduced effort. Less effort meant slower movement. Slower movement reduced mistakes. In the dark, precision mattered more than speed. Speed belonged to daylight. Night favored caution. Caution did not feel restrictive. It felt appropriate. The world was not meant to be fully visible. Only what was necessary appeared. A nearby shape. A shifting shadow. Nothing more. The mind adapted to this reduction. It stopped filling gaps with assumption. Assumption requires imagination. Imagination stretches outward. The night pulled inward. Without distant visibility, thoughts shortened. They did not extend far into possibility. Possibility requires sight. Without sight, possibility softened. What remained was immediacy. The ground. The body. The breath. Seeing less returned attention to these. The body became the reference point. Not the horizon. Not the distance. Awareness stayed anchored. Anchoring did not feel limiting. It felt stabilizing. Without artificial light, nothing demanded constant scanning. The eyes did not sweep the surroundings. They rested. Resting eyes reduced mental noise. Noise often comes from excess information. Excess information was absent. The night filtered the world naturally. Only what was close enough mattered. Everything else dissolved. This reduction was gentle. It did not shock the senses. It eased them. Seeing less did not mean being unaware. It meant being selectively aware. Selective awareness is calmer. Calmer awareness allowed deeper rest. The mind did not race ahead. It stayed where the body was. Together. When less could be seen, less needed to be managed. The mind did not attempt to map the surroundings. Mapping requires visibility. Visibility was partial. Partial vision discouraged planning. Planning belongs to clarity. The night did not offer clarity. It offered proximity. What was near mattered. What was far faded. Fading did not feel like disappearance. It felt like permission to ignore. Ignoring reduced tension. Tension often comes from excess awareness. Excess awareness was unnecessary here. The body did not need to know what lay beyond the edge of light. Beyond the edge was simply unknown. Unknown did not mean threatening. It meant unaddressed. Unaddressed things did not demand reaction. Reaction requires certainty. Certainty was limited. The night allowed uncertainty to remain unresolved. Unresolved uncertainty did not escalate. It settled quietly. Seeing less softened the need for explanation. Not everything needed to make sense. Sense-making requires detail. Detail was sparse. The world offered only fragments. Fragments were enough. A hand moving nearby. A shift of weight. A sound close to the ground. These did not form a picture. They formed a presence. Presence did not require understanding. It required awareness. Awareness stayed close to sensation. The body learned to trust immediate feedback. Pressure underfoot. Temperature on skin. Air moving slowly. These replaced distant cues. Replacing sight with sensation reduced mental load. The mind stopped assembling narratives. Narratives require information. Information was limited. Without information, stories did not form. Without stories, anticipation faded. Anticipation sharpens attention. The night dulled it gently. Seeing less shortened the reach of thought. Thoughts stayed local. They did not travel into future or past. They rested in the present. Presence felt stable. Stability did not come from knowing more. It came from knowing enough. Enough did not include distance. Enough included closeness. Closeness grounded the body. Grounding reduced restlessness. Restlessness needs stimulation. Stimulation was minimal. The eyes no longer chased detail. They accepted blur. Blur did not frustrate. It soothed. Edges softened. Sharp lines disappeared. Without sharp lines, judgment faded. Judgment often relies on comparison. Comparison requires clarity. Clarity was absent. The night dissolved comparison naturally. Seeing less reduced hierarchy. Nothing appeared more important than anything else. The nearby ground mattered as much as the sky. Importance flattened. Flattened importance reduced urgency. Urgency drives wakefulness. Wakefulness loosened its grip. The body did not resist this change. It followed it. Following did not feel passive. It felt appropriate. The night did not demand awareness. It accepted it quietly. And awareness, having less to process, rested more easily. Seeing less also changed how distance was felt. Distance no longer pulled attention outward. It did not invite curiosity. Curiosity often comes from visibility. Without visibility, curiosity softened. The mind stopped reaching beyond the body. Reaching requires direction. Direction was unclear. Unclear direction reduced movement. Movement slowed without effort. Slowness did not feel imposed. It felt natural. The night did not encourage exploration. It encouraged presence. Presence did not require expansion. It required settling. Settling brought the body inward. Inward attention reduced strain. Strain often comes from trying to see more. Seeing less removed that effort. The eyes accepted limitation. Acceptance reduced tension around them. Muscles around the face relaxed. The jaw loosened. The forehead softened. Without artificial light, the face did not hold expression. Expression requires awareness of being seen. Being seen was limited. Limited visibility reduced performance. Performance keeps the mind alert. Alertness faded. The night allowed the body to exist without display. Without display, posture softened. Soft posture allowed breath to deepen. Deeper breath slowed internal rhythms. Nothing needed to match anything else. Rhythm did not synchronize. Each body followed its own pace. Seeing less reduced coordination demands. Coordination requires sight. Without sight, cooperation became quieter. People did not watch each other closely. Watching creates awareness of difference. Difference invites comparison. Comparison sharpens identity. Identity keeps the mind active. The night reduced identity pressure. Without constant visual feedback, the self loosened. Loosening did not feel like loss. It felt like relief from monitoring. The body did not need to know how it appeared. Appearing mattered less. What mattered was sensation. Sensation remained available even in darkness. The skin felt temperature clearly. The ground felt solid. Sound remained directional but soft. These cues were enough. Enough information meant no excess. Excess keeps the mind awake. The night removed excess naturally. Seeing less shortened the loop of attention. Attention did not wander far. It returned to the body quickly. Returning required no effort. The night guided it gently. Guidance was passive. No instruction was given. The environment did the work. Without light, there was nothing to chase. Nothing to follow. Nothing to maintain. The mind stopped tracking. Tracking implies time. Time remained vague. Vagueness reduced urgency further. Seeing less softened the edges of awareness. Soft edges allowed rest to settle. Rest did not announce itself. It arrived quietly. And once it arrived, nothing pushed it away. Seeing less also changed how the night was trusted. Trust did not come from certainty. It came from familiarity without detail. The dark was known without being visible. Known without description. The body learned its limits by feeling them. A step too far. A reach too wide. Correction happened naturally. No lesson was learned. Learning requires memory. Memory was not active. Adjustment replaced learning. Adjustment did not accumulate. It happened moment by moment. Seeing less reduced the need for anticipation. Anticipation often comes from seeing what is ahead. Without that view, the body stayed where it was. Staying did not feel static. It felt grounded. The night encouraged grounding. Grounding calmed internal motion. Internal motion slowed as external stimuli faded. Without artificial light, nothing flashed. Nothing pulled the eye suddenly. Sudden changes keep the nervous system alert. Alertness faded without them. The eye moved less. Less movement meant less scanning. Less scanning meant fewer decisions. Fewer decisions reduced fatigue. Fatigue did not arrive as exhaustion. It arrived as heaviness. Heaviness invited rest. Rest did not need permission. Seeing less also softened social awareness. Faces were partially visible. Expressions were incomplete. Incomplete information reduced interpretation. Interpretation often leads to reaction. Reaction keeps the mind active. The night reduced reaction naturally. Without clear expressions, nothing needed to be read. Nothing needed to be responded to. People existed without constant feedback. Feedback loops keep attention tight. The dark loosened them. Looser attention did not disappear. It became ambient. Ambient awareness did not demand focus. It allowed drifting. Drifting did not feel unsafe. Safety was felt close to the body. Close enough to touch. Nothing required distant vigilance. Seeing less shortened vigilance range. Short vigilance allowed relaxation. Relaxation did not lower awareness completely. It softened it. Soft awareness allowed the body to settle into stillness. Stillness did not signal sleep. It signaled readiness. Readiness without expectation. Seeing less also changed how time felt. Without visual cues, time did not segment. No shadows moved across visible walls. No light faded in measurable ways. Change was subtle. Subtle change did not announce itself. Without announcement, time blended. Blended time did not pressure the body. Pressure keeps eyes open. Pressure faded. Seeing less removed the need to stay alert. Alertness loosened its hold. The night accepted this quietly. Nothing demanded otherwise. And in that acceptance, awareness found rest. Seeing less also softened the sense of responsibility. When the world could not be fully seen, it could not be fully managed. Management requires overview. Overview was absent. Without overview, control loosened. Loosened control did not feel dangerous. It felt relieving. The body did not feel tasked with monitoring everything. Nothing needed constant supervision. The night held what could not be seen. Trust shifted outward. Not into certainty. Into acceptance. Acceptance reduced mental effort. Mental effort keeps the mind awake. The night reduced effort naturally. Seeing less reduced the urge to plan. Planning relies on prediction. Prediction relies on visibility. Without visibility, planning faded. Fading plans did not create anxiety. They created space. Space allowed rest. The mind did not rehearse possibilities. Possibilities require sight of what might come. The dark did not show what might come. It showed only what was. This anchored awareness firmly in the present. Present awareness does not rush. It does not stretch forward. It settles. Seeing less also changed how silence was heard. Without visual distraction, sound stood briefly. Then disappeared. No sound stayed long enough to demand attention. Attention did not lock on. Locking on creates alertness. Alertness faded. The night allowed sounds to pass without meaning. Meaning requires interpretation. Interpretation keeps the mind active. The dark did not invite interpretation. Seeing less reduced the sense of self. The self often sharpens when seen. Mirrored in others. Reflected in surfaces. Without light, reflection was minimal. Minimal reflection softened identity. Softened identity reduced internal dialogue. Dialogue requires contrast. Contrast was absent. The mind quieted further. Without constant visual input, memory slowed. Nothing new was recorded. Recording keeps the mind alert. Alertness faded naturally. Seeing less allowed the nervous system to downshift. Downshifting did not require intention. It happened through environment. The night did the work. Without artificial light, the body followed older rhythms. Rhythms that did not resist darkness. Rhythms that welcomed it. Seeing less was not deprivation. It was alignment. Alignment allowed rest to deepen. Deep rest did not announce itself. It spread quietly. And as it spread, nothing interrupted it. Light was not always present. It did not surround everything. It did not stay. Light appeared. And then it was gone. Because of this, it mattered. Light was not a background condition. It was an action. A decision. To create light meant effort. Fuel had to be gathered. Time had to be spent. Attention had to remain. Light did not happen by accident. When it appeared, it was intentional. The fire was not simply there. It had to be made. Hands worked carefully. Movement slowed. A mistake meant darkness again. Because light was fragile, it was respected. It was not wasted. No one assumed it would remain. The fire was watched quietly. Not with urgency. With awareness. Awareness did not sharpen into alertness. It stayed calm. Light gathered bodies together. Not because it commanded. Because it was rare. Rare things pull gently. Light created a small center. Not a place of power. A place of presence. Beyond it, the night remained unchanged. Darkness did not retreat. It waited. This balance shaped behavior. Light was used carefully. Movement stayed within its reach. Nothing important happened far from it. Far meant unseen. Unseen meant uncertain. Uncertainty was accepted. The fire did not replace the night. It borrowed space inside it. Borrowed space is never taken for granted. When the fire dimmed, nothing was lost. Darkness returned as it always had. The body did not resist this return. It adjusted. Light did not promise safety. It promised momentary clarity. Clarity did not extend. It stayed close. This closeness mattered. Seeing clearly was temporary. Knowing clearly was temporary. The mind did not cling to clarity. It learned to let it pass. Light did not define the night. It punctuated it. A brief interruption. Then continuity again. Because light was an event, it carried weight. It was noticed. But it did not dominate. Domination belongs to constant presence. Light was never constant. It came. It went. And in that movement, meaning formed quietly. Because light required effort, it was never casual. It was not turned on. It was sustained. Sustaining light meant staying present. Leaving the fire unattended meant losing it. Loss was expected. Expectation softened attachment. No one assumed permanence. Light was treated as temporary. Temporary things invite care. Care did not feel like responsibility. It felt like attention. Attention stayed gentle. Too much attention would have strained the moment. The fire did not ask to be stared at. It asked to be maintained. Maintenance did not dominate awareness. It blended into the night. Hands adjusted fuel slowly. Movements were measured. Sudden action risked collapse. Because light was fragile, movement slowed. Slowness preserved it. The presence of light shortened the world. Only what fell inside its reach mattered. Everything else remained potential. Potential did not demand action. It waited. The fire did not extend time. It compressed it. Moments near light felt focused. Not rushed. Focused awareness did not scatter. It stayed near the body. The mind did not wander far. Light gathered attention without pulling it outward. This gathering was subtle. Bodies leaned in slightly. Not to dominate the space. To share it. Sharing did not require speech. It required proximity. Proximity was temporary. When the fire dimmed, bodies drifted apart again. Nothing signaled an ending. Light faded naturally. Darkness filled the space it left behind. No boundary marked the transition. The two blended. The fire did not compete with darkness. It existed within it. This taught an unspoken lesson. Light was not control. It was interruption. A small opening. Then continuity returned. Because of this, light was not wasted on excess. It was used when needed. When warmth mattered. When closeness mattered. When clarity mattered briefly. Clarity did not persist. It dissolved back into shadow. The mind learned to release it. Holding on would have created strain. Strain belonged to constant light. Constant light did not exist. Light appeared. Then disappeared. And each time it did, it carried meaning. Not because it was explained. Because it was felt. Light also shaped how people gathered. Not everyone needed to be close. Closeness was chosen. Those who came nearer did so quietly. No one was called. Light did not demand attention. It offered it. Being near the fire did not elevate status. It did not grant importance. It granted warmth. Warmth did not organize the group. It softened it. Bodies arranged themselves naturally. No fixed positions formed. No place became permanent. The fire did not create hierarchy. It created a moment. Moments did not accumulate into structure. They passed. When light was present, speech stayed low. Not because silence was required. Because sound carried differently. Words stayed near the body. They did not travel far. Far spaces belonged to darkness. Darkness held sound gently. Nothing echoed. Nothing demanded response. The fire did not amplify voices. It did not frame faces clearly. Expressions remained partial. Partial visibility reduced performance. Performance requires being seen. Light did not reveal enough for display. Faces appeared briefly. Then softened into shadow. No one held the gaze of others for long. Gaze returned to the fire. Then drifted away. Attention remained fluid. Light did not fix it. This fluidity mattered. Fixed attention sharpens awareness. Sharp awareness keeps the mind awake. The fire avoided sharpness. It flickered. Flicker prevented still images from forming. No moment stayed long enough to be captured. Capture requires stability. Stability belonged to daylight. Night did not hold it. Light in the night remained unstable. That instability softened memory. Memories did not form clearly. Nothing was stored precisely. Imprecision reduced mental load. Without clear memory, nothing needed to be revisited. The moment existed only while it existed. Then it was gone. This taught the mind to release. Release did not feel like loss. Loss requires attachment. Attachment did not form strongly. Light was too brief. Too gentle. The fire also shaped the sense of safety. Safety did not come from visibility. It came from familiarity. Familiar warmth. Familiar darkness. Both were known. Neither was dominant. Light did not chase the dark away. It shared space with it. Sharing reduced fear. Fear often comes from opposition. There was no opposition here. Light and dark coexisted. This coexistence calmed the body. Calm did not require explanation. It settled quietly. The mind accepted that clarity would come and go. Nothing depended on its staying. Letting clarity leave reduced strain. Strain keeps the body tense. Tension faded. The fire did not need to be bright. It needed to be enough. Enough to warm hands. Enough to reveal a face briefly. Enough to mark presence. Then darkness returned to its place. And the night continued as it always had. Light also shaped how time was felt. When light appeared, it did not signal progress. It did not mark advancement. It marked presence. Time near the fire did not move forward. It gathered. Moments did not stack. They hovered. The body did not count how long the fire stayed lit. Counting requires expectation. Expectation creates tension. The fire did not invite expectation. It invited attention without pressure. Attention rested on movement. A shifting flame. A brief glow. Nothing stayed still long enough to measure. Measurement requires stability. Stability was absent. The fire flickered. Flicker prevented the sense of duration. Without duration, time softened. Softened time did not rush. It lingered without weight. When the fire dimmed, no moment ended. Nothing concluded. Darkness resumed seamlessly. There was no before and after. Only continuity. Light did not divide the night. It floated inside it. Because of this, the mind did not register endings. Endings sharpen awareness. Awareness returned to the present. The present did not feel temporary. It felt sufficient. Light did not compete with sleep. It allowed wakefulness to loosen gradually. Eyes closed without effort. Not because the fire demanded rest. Because nothing resisted it. When eyes opened again, the fire was either there or not. Both states were acceptable. Acceptance reduced vigilance. Vigilance keeps the nervous system alert. Alertness faded further. The fire did not tell stories. Stories require sequence. Sequence requires memory. Memory did not sharpen here. The night resisted narrative. Light did not overcome that resistance. It aligned with it. Moments near light were not recalled clearly. They blended. Blending softened the edges of recollection. Soft recollection did not pull attention back. It did not replay. Nothing needed to be processed later. Processing keeps the mind active. The night reduced processing naturally. Light was not a teacher. It did not instruct behavior. It revealed briefly. Then released. Release was important. Holding on to light would have broken the balance. Balance existed because nothing dominated. Darkness remained the larger condition. Light respected that. Respect did not require intention. It emerged from fragility. Fragile things do not overtake their surroundings. They fit within them. The fire fit within the night. And because it fit, it did not disturb. It enriched quietly. When it ended, nothing was taken away. The night did not collapse. It remained whole. And within that wholeness, time continued unmeasured. Light also shaped how memory formed. Moments near the fire did not imprint sharply. They did not become images to be replayed. Sharp memory requires stable scenes. The fire did not provide stability. It moved. It shifted. It changed constantly. Because of this, memory softened. Soft memory did not cling. It faded without resistance. Nothing demanded to be remembered. Remembering was not a task. The night did not archive experience. It allowed it to pass. Passing did not feel like loss. Loss requires attachment. Attachment did not form strongly here. Light was too brief, too fluid. The mind learned to let moments dissolve. Dissolving moments did not leave gaps. They blended into continuity. Continuity did not require recall. It required presence. Presence did not store information. It experienced it, then released it. Light did not produce milestones. There were no highlights to mark. Nothing stood out sharply enough. The fire did not frame events. It illuminated movement briefly, then allowed it to return to shadow. This pattern trained the mind quietly. It learned not to hold, not to grip experience tightly. Gripping creates tension. Tension keeps awareness sharp. Sharp awareness resists rest. The night softened awareness through repetition. Light appeared. Light faded. Again and again. No cycle needed to be counted. Counting would have sharpened attention. Attention remained loose. Loose attention allowed drifting. Drifting did not disconnect the body. It kept the body anchored while the mind softened. The fire did not anchor memory. It anchored presence. Presence existed only while the flame existed. When the flame dimmed, presence did not collapse. It simply changed form. Darkness carried it forward. Light did not define moments. It punctuated them briefly. Punctuation did not create structure. It created texture. Texture did not need to be remembered. It was felt. Feeling did not demand explanation. Explanation keeps the mind active. The night did not encourage explanation. It allowed sensation to remain unprocessed. Unprocessed sensation faded gently. Nothing lingered. Lingering creates thought. Thought stayed minimal. Light did not create stories. Stories require continuity of vision. Vision broke constantly. Without continuity, narrative did not form. The fire did not compete with the night's quiet. It respected it. Respect meant staying small. Small light did not overwhelm. It enriched without dominating. And when it ended, memory did not chase it. Nothing needed to be recalled. Nothing needed to be completed. The night accepted this fully. And within that acceptance, the mind released control even further. Darkness was not something to endure. It was something life moved within. People did not wait for it to pass. They adjusted to it. Adjustment was not conscious. It happened through repetition. Each night returned without variation. Not brighter. Not softer. Consistent darkness shaped routine quietly. Routine did not rely on schedules. It relied on sensation. Cold arriving. Warmth fading. The body recognized these shifts without naming them. Living with darkness meant living without extension. The day did not stretch into the night. Activity slowed naturally. Slowing did not feel restrictive. It felt appropriate. Without artificial light, effort had a natural limit. The body stopped when it needed to stop. Not when a task was finished, but when energy faded. Energy fading did not feel like failure. It felt like completion. The night did not judge unfinished things. Judgment requires comparison. Comparison requires visibility. Darkness softened both. Living with darkness meant accepting partial awareness. Not everything could be known at once. This did not create anxiety. It reduced it. Anxiety often comes from managing too much. Darkness reduced management naturally. The body learned to exist without constant orientation. Direction was approximate. Approximation was enough. Precision belonged to daylight. Night allowed tolerance. Tolerance reduced tension. Living without full visibility slowed internal rhythms. Heart rate softened. Breath deepened slightly. Nothing forced the body into alertness. Without light, there was no pressure to stay responsive. Responsiveness faded gradually. Gradual fading did not feel like loss of control. It felt like rest returning. Living with darkness also changed how waiting felt. Waiting did not mean anticipation. It meant stillness. Stillness did not demand outcome. The body did not wait for something. It waited with the night. The night did not move forward. It held. Holding did not feel heavy. It felt stable. Stability allowed the body to settle more deeply. Nothing needed to be checked. Nothing needed confirmation. Confirmation requires visibility. Visibility was limited. The night did not offer reassurance. It offered continuity. Continuity was enough. Living with darkness meant fewer transitions. No sudden brightness. No sharp awakenings. The nervous system did not reset repeatedly. Repeated resets keep the body alert. Darkness prevented that. The body remained in a single state longer. Long states encourage rest. Rest did not announce itself. It spread slowly. And within that spread, awareness softened further. Living with darkness changed how effort was understood. Effort did not stretch endlessly. It had a natural boundary. When the light faded, effort followed. Tasks did not continue into the night. Not because they were forbidden. Because they were unnecessary. Necessity felt different without light. Only what mattered remained worth doing. Small actions. Simple movements. Nothing complex demanded attention. Complexity requires clarity. Clarity was limited. Darkness filtered activity naturally. Living within that filter reduced pressure. Pressure often comes from unfinished tasks. Unfinished tasks lost urgency. Urgency requires time awareness. Time was vague. Without visible time, nothing felt late. Nothing felt behind. The body did not measure productivity. Productivity belongs to daylight. Night allowed incompleteness. Incompleteness did not create discomfort. It created permission. Permission to stop. Permission to pause. Living with darkness softened a sense of purpose. Purpose did not disappear. It rested. Resting purpose did not demand expression. Expression requires audience. Audience requires visibility. Visibility was minimal. The self did not perform. Performance keeps awareness sharp. Sharp awareness keeps the body awake. Darkness dulled that edge gently. Living without constant visibility also changed posture. Bodies leaned inward. Not out of fear. Out of balance. Balance mattered more than openness. Open posture belongs to light. Night encouraged compactness. Compact posture conserved warmth. Warmth mattered more than display. The body arranged itself efficiently. Efficiency did not feel mechanical. It felt instinctive. Living with darkness meant fewer signals. No screens. No sudden flashes. No distant movement to track. Tracking requires sustained attention. Attention relaxed without it. The nervous system downshifted gradually. Not into sleep immediately. Into readiness for rest. Readiness did not demand action. It allowed stillness. Stillness did not feel imposed. It felt earned. Living with darkness also changed how danger was perceived. Danger was not visual. It was felt. A sound too close. A shift too sudden. The body responded locally. Not globally. Local response prevented escalation. Escalation requires interpretation. Interpretation requires information. Information was limited. Without excess information, fear did not spiral. Fear stayed contained. Contained fear did not dominate awareness. The body did not remain tense. Tension released quickly. Living with darkness meant trusting immediate sensation. Not projection. Not imagination. Projection stretches awareness outward. The night pulled it back. Back into the body. Back into breath. This return reduced mental noise. Noise often comes from anticipating what cannot be seen. Darkness made anticipation unnecessary. What could not be seen did not call attention. Attention stayed where sensation existed. Living with darkness simplified existence. Not by removing experience. By narrowing it gently. Narrow experience reduced cognitive load. Reduced load allowed rest to deepen. Deep rest did not arrive suddenly. It accumulated slowly. And as it accumulated, nothing interrupted it. Living with darkness also reshaped how connection felt. Connection did not rely on constant visibility. It relied on proximity. Being near was enough. No one needed to be seen clearly to be present. Presence did not require recognition. Recognition sharpens identity. Identity keeps the mind active. The night softened identity quietly. People did not monitor each other closely. Monitoring requires light. Without light, attention loosened. Looser attention did not disconnect. It relaxed. Connection became ambient. Felt rather than observed. A nearby breath. A shift of weight. These signals were subtle. Subtle signals did not demand interpretation. Interpretation keeps awareness alert. The night reduced interpretation naturally. Living with darkness allowed connection without exchange. No need to respond. No need to confirm. Confirmation requires clarity. Clarity was partial. Partial clarity allowed coexistence without effort. People shared space without managing it. Managing space requires awareness of boundaries. Boundaries softened in the dark. Soft boundaries did not blur safety. They reduced tension. Living with darkness also altered how solitude felt. Solitude did not feel separate from togetherness. Being alone and being near others felt similar. Both existed within the same quiet field. The field was darkness. Darkness did not isolate. It equalized. Without visibility, difference softened. Status did not announce itself. Hierarchy requires display. Display requires light. Without light, hierarchy faded. Living with darkness removed comparison. Comparison keeps the mind busy. Busy minds resist rest. The night removed that busyness. Without constant reference points, the self relaxed. Relaxation did not dissolve awareness. It broadened it gently. Awareness became less focused. Less focused awareness does not strain. It drifts. Drifting did not feel unsafe. The environment remained stable. Stability did not require control. Control requires oversight. Oversight was absent. Living with darkness also softened memory formation. Days did not end sharply. They faded. Night did not signal closure. It continued the flow. Because nothing ended, nothing needed to be remembered clearly. Memory did not archive experience. It allowed it to pass. Passing reduced mental clutter. Clutter keeps awareness sharp. Sharp awareness resists sleep. The night reduced sharpness gradually. Living without artificial light meant fewer transitions. No sudden awakenings. No abrupt shifts. The nervous system stayed in one state longer. Long states encourage depth. Depth did not require intention. It arrived through consistency. Consistency of darkness. Night after night. Without variation. Variation excites attention. Consistency calms it. Living with darkness trained the body over time. Training did not feel like discipline. It felt like adaptation. Adaptation did not require effort. It happened quietly. And through that quiet adaptation, rest became easier. The body recognized when to release. Release did not feel forced. It felt natural. The night did not demand surrender. It invited it. And the body responded. Living with darkness also shaped how endings were felt. Endings did not arrive clearly. They softened. Activities did not stop abruptly. They faded as light faded. Fading did not feel unfinished. It felt complete. Completion did not require closure. Closure requires awareness of time. Time was indistinct. Without time markers, nothing felt cut short. Living with darkness removed sharp transitions. Transitions keep the mind alert. Alertness resists rest. The night reduced transitions naturally. When movement slowed, nothing replaced it. Stillness followed. Stillness did not signal emptiness. It signaled balance. Living with darkness also changed how the body interpreted stillness. Stillness did not mean inactivity. It meant alignment. Alignment between breath, posture, and environment. The body stopped negotiating with itself. Negotiation requires decision. Decision requires options. Options were few. Darkness limited choice gently. Limited choice reduced mental effort. Effort faded without resistance. Living with darkness softened vigilance. Vigilance did not disappear. It localized. The body responded only to what was near. Near events mattered. Far events did not. This kept awareness narrow. Narrow awareness conserves energy. Energy conservation encouraged rest. Living with darkness also altered how comfort was felt. Comfort did not come from abundance. It came from adequacy. Enough warmth. Enough space. Nothing more. More would have required effort. Effort was unnecessary. The body accepted what was present. Acceptance reduced dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction keeps the mind active. The night dissolved dissatisfaction quietly. Living without artificial light also meant living without constant novelty. Novelty excites attention. Excited attention resists sleep. Darkness offered consistency. Consistency calmed attention. Night after night followed the same pattern. This repetition did not bore. It soothed. Soothing repetition trains the nervous system. Training occurred without instruction. The body learned when to release awareness. Release did not feel risky. Nothing demanded alertness. Living with darkness made rest predictable. Predictable rest reduces anxiety. Anxiety thrives on uncertainty. The night made uncertainty stable. Stable uncertainty did not disturb. It allowed the body to settle into it. Living with darkness meant trusting the night to hold experience. Nothing needed to be controlled. Control was unnecessary. The night carried everything forward. And within that carrying, the body rested more deeply. Light did not disappear suddenly. It did not announce its change. It did not arrive differently at first. It simply stayed longer. What stayed longer became ordinary. Ordinary things lose weight. When light stopped leaving, it stopped meaning. It no longer marked moments. It filled them. Filling removed contrast. Without contrast, attention softened. Light no longer arrived as an event. It became background. Background does not ask to be noticed. It hums quietly. The night no longer held full presence. It was interrupted. Not briefly. Continuously. Darkness did not vanish. It thinned. Thin darkness does not settle. It lingers without weight. Light that never leaves does not invite care. Care requires fragility. Fragility was gone. The effort once needed to create light disappeared. No gathering. No waiting. Light appeared without decision. Decision gives meaning. Without decision, light lost intention. It no longer gathered bodies. It scattered them. No center formed. Centers require boundaries. Boundaries faded. Light spread everywhere evenly. Even spread removed focus. Nothing mattered more than anything else. Importance flattened. Flattened importance dulled awareness. Awareness no longer leaned inward. It stretched outward endlessly. Endless reach created strain. The eye never rested. There was always more to see. Seeing more did not bring clarity. It brought noise. Noise did not arrive loudly. It accumulated. Light stopped marking time. Time continued without pause. No fading. No settling. Moments stacked instead of blending. Stacking created pressure. Pressure replaced calm. The body no longer followed light. It resisted it. Resisting required effort. Effort kept the nervous system active. Activity no longer ended naturally. Sleep became a task. Rest required intention. Intention sharpened awareness. Awareness resisted release. Light that once invited rest now delayed it. Not by force. By presence. Constant presence removes rhythm. Without rhythm, the body searched. Searching kept the mind awake. Light lost its weight not because it changed, but because it stayed. When light no longer left, the body lost a signal. Not a visual signal. A rhythmic one. The rhythm that once moved between light and dark flattened. Flat rhythm does not guide. It hums without direction. The body no longer knew when to slow. Slowing became optional. Optional rest is harder to accept. Acceptance requires inevitability. The night was no longer inevitable. It could be postponed. Postponement stretched awareness thin. Thin awareness does not settle. It vibrates. Light without absence removed permission. Permission to stop. Permission to fade. Stopping required decision. Decision kept the mind active. The mind stayed engaged longer than the body wanted. This mismatch created strain. Strain did not arrive sharply. It accumulated quietly. Light did not overwhelm. It persisted. Persistence replaced contrast. Without contrast, the senses stayed alert. Alert senses resist rest. The eye remained open longer. Even when closed, it expected light. Expectation followed into sleep. Sleep did not arrive fully. It fractured. Fragments replaced continuity. The night no longer carried experience smoothly. It was interrupted repeatedly. Interruptions reset awareness. Reset awareness prevented depth. Depth requires time without disturbance. Disturbance became constant. Light no longer marked community. It marked separation. Each source stood alone. No shared center. No gathering point. Without gathering, attention dispersed. Dispersed attention did not calm. It scattered. Scattered awareness moved restlessly. The body followed. Restlessness replaced stillness. Light no longer needed care. Care faded. Faded care reduced presence. Presence became thin. Thin presence did not hold weight. Moments passed without imprint. Without imprint, nothing settled. Settling requires pause. Pause was absent. Light continued without invitation. It did not ask the body to remain awake. It simply allowed it. Allowance does not guide rhythm. Guidance was lost. Without guidance, the body learned to negotiate with itself. Negotiation replaced surrender. Surrender allows rest. Negotiation delays it. Light lost its weight because it no longer ended. Endings give shape. Without shape, time blurred into sequence. Sequence without boundary creates fatigue. Fatigue did not bring rest. It brought tension. The night became thinner. Not gone. Just less present. Less able to hold experience. The body adapted slowly. But adaptation required effort. Effort replaced ease. Ease once lived in darkness. Darkness was no longer whole. It shared space constantly. Sharing removed dominance. Without dominance, rhythm weakened. Light lost its weight. Not because it grew stronger, but because it never left. When light stopped leaving, darkness stopped arriving fully. Arrival matters. Arrival gives shape. Without arrival, nothing feels complete. The night no longer entered the space. It hovered. Hovering does not settle. The body waited for darkness to arrive. It did not. Waiting without fulfillment keeps the mind alert. Alertness became the default. Default alertness is tiring. Tiredness did not bring sleep. It brought resistance. The body resisted rest. Not consciously. Through tension. Light filled spaces evenly. Even filling removes focus. Nothing stood out. Nothing invited pause. Pause must be marked. The night once marked it. Now, light erased the marker. Without markers, time stretched. Stretched time did not feel slow. It felt endless. Endlessness does not comfort. It exhausts. The body lost its cues. Cues that once came from fading light. From shadows lengthening. From darkness returning. Those cues were replaced by constancy. Constancy removed rhythm. Without rhythm, the nervous system stayed active. Active systems resist release. Release became effortful. Effort replaced ease. Ease once lived in predictable darkness. Darkness no longer arrived predictably. It arrived partially. Fragmented darkness does not hold. It leaks. Light leaked into every moment. Moments did not close. Nothing finished. Finishing allows rest. Without finishing, the body stayed open. Open systems do not settle. The eye remained engaged. Even when closed, it expected interruption. Interruption became normal. Normal interruption prevented depth. Depth requires trust. Trust requires consistency. Consistency was gone. Light remained. Darkness did not. The balance shifted quietly. No one announced it. No moment marked the change. It accumulated over time. Accumulation without awareness creates fatigue. Fatigue without rest creates strain. Strain does not resolve on its own. It lingers. The body learned new habits. Staying awake longer. Pushing rest aside. Negotiating with fatigue. Negotiation replaced surrender. Surrender once belonged to night. The night no longer held authority. Light occupied its place. Light without weight does not guide. It distracts. Distraction fragments awareness. Fragmented awareness resists calm. Calm became something to seek. Seeking requires effort. Effort sharpened the mind. Sharp minds do not drift. They hold. The body held on longer than it needed to. Letting go became difficult. Not because the body changed. Because the environment did. Light lost its weight. And with it, the night lost its fullness. When light stopped withdrawing, the body lost a quiet agreement. An agreement that had never been spoken. An agreement between night and rest. The night once arrived with certainty. Certainty allowed release. Release did not require intention. It happened because nothing resisted it. Light that never left introduced resistance. Resistance did not feel dramatic. It felt subtle. A slight holding of breath. A small tension behind the eyes. These accumulated. Accumulation did not announce itself. It became normal. Normal tension feels invisible. Invisible strain is difficult to release. The body adapted by staying ready. Readiness became default. Default readiness keeps the nervous system awake. Awake systems do not settle deeply. They hover. Hovering feels like rest. But it is not. Light that stays present removes darkness as a container. Darkness once held experience. It absorbed sensation. It allowed things to fade. Without full darkness, nothing fully fades. Experiences linger longer than they should. Lingering keeps awareness engaged. Engaged awareness resists sleep. Sleep became lighter. Not because the body wanted less, but because the environment no longer guided it. Light continued without rhythm. No ebb. No flow. Without ebb, release did not arrive. The body waited for a signal that did not come. Waiting without resolution sharpens attention. Sharp attention resists drifting. Drifting is required for deep rest. Light without absence removed the drift. The night lost its authority quietly. Authority once came from inevitability. Inevitability no longer existed. Darkness could be postponed. Postponement required decision. Decision kept the mind involved. The mind became a gatekeeper. Gatekeepers do not sleep easily. They monitor. Monitoring replaced surrender. Surrender once belonged to nightfall. Now, nightfall was optional. Optional rest is fragile. Fragile rest breaks easily. Light did not attack rest. It diluted it. Dilution spreads thin. Thin rest does not restore fully. The body woke without feeling complete. Completion requires closure. Closure requires endings. Light that never ends removes endings. Without endings, cycles blur. Blurred cycles confuse the body. Confused bodies stay alert. Alertness became background noise. Noise did not stop. It hummed. The hum followed into sleep. Sleep no longer felt deep. It felt shallow and easily disturbed. Disturbance became normal. Normal disturbance feels unremarkable. But it accumulates. Light lost its weight because it stopped yielding space. It occupied everything evenly. Even occupation removes meaning. Meaning comes from contrast. Contrast was gone. The night no longer felt complete. It felt interrupted. Interrupted spaces do not hold rest well. Rest slipped through the gaps. The body compensated. It learned to push through fatigue. Pushing replaced alignment. Alignment once came from darkness arriving fully. Without full arrival, alignment weakened. Light remained. Darkness thinned. And with it, the body lost an old permission. The permission to stop without deciding. When light no longer yielded space, the body learned new compromises. Compromises were not chosen. They formed quietly. Staying awake longer. Resting less deeply. These changes did not feel dramatic. They felt gradual. Gradual change is difficult to notice. The body adjusted without protest. But adjustment came at a cost. Light that never receded blurred the boundary between day and night. Boundaries once gave structure. Structure supported rhythm. Rhythm guided rest. Without clear boundaries, rhythm weakened. Weak rhythm does not carry the body into depth. Depth became something to reach for. Reaching requires effort. Effort sharpens attention. Sharp attention resists letting go. The body stayed close to waking. Even when asleep. Sleep became lighter. Lighter sleep does not restore fully. Restoration slowed. Slower restoration accumulated fatigue. Fatigue did not demand rest. It demanded endurance. Endurance replaced ease. Ease once lived in darkness. Darkness arrived without negotiation. Now it arrived partially. Partial arrival does not convince the body. The body waited. Waiting without certainty keeps awareness alert. Alertness lingered. Light that never ended created constant readiness. Readiness feels productive. But it is tiring. Tired systems do not collapse into rest. They hover. Hovering is not rest. It is suspension. Suspension holds tension quietly. Tension without release spreads. It settles into muscles. Into breath. Into thought. The night once dissolved tension naturally. Darkness held the body until release arrived. Now darkness was incomplete. Incomplete darkness could not hold fully. Rest leaked away slowly. The body adapted by compensating. Drinking more. Moving faster. Staying engaged. Engagement replaced alignment. Alignment once required surrender. Surrender requires trust. Trust requires consistency. Consistency was gone. Light appeared everywhere, always. Always present light does not reassure. It distracts. Distraction keeps the mind moving. Movement resists stillness. Stillness became something to manage. Managing stillness keeps awareness active. Active awareness resists sleep. The night no longer arrived as a container. It hovered at the edges. Edges do not hold. The body learned to sleep lightly. Light sleep became default. Default states shape experience. Experience changed quietly. The body forgot how it once rested. Not suddenly. Gradually. Light did not overpower the night. It dissolved it. Dissolution removed contrast. Without contrast, meaning faded. Light lost its weight because it lost its opposite. And without that opposition, the body lost an old rhythm. A rhythm that required nothing. A rhythm that arrived on its own. There was a time when darkness arrived without effort. It did not need to be invited. It came. And when it came, the body followed. Following did not feel like surrender. It felt like returning. Returning to a rhythm older than decision. Older than intention. The night once carried the body into rest without asking. Nothing needed to be arranged. Nothing needed to be managed. Light faded. Darkness arrived. Rest followed. This sequence did not require belief. It required no understanding. It worked because it was consistent. Consistency teaches the body trust. Trust allows release. Release allows depth. Depth allows restoration. When light lost its weight, this sequence thinned. Not erased. Thinned. The night still exists. Darkness still arrives. But it no longer holds the same authority. It shares space continuously. Sharing weakens rhythm. Without rhythm, the body negotiates. Negotiation replaces ease. Ease once belonged to nightfall. Nightfall no longer arrives clearly. It hovers. Hovering does not settle. The body remains half-ready. Half-ready states do not rest deeply. They pause without release. Over time, this pause becomes normal. Normal does not mean optimal. It means familiar. Familiar strain is easy to ignore. But the body remembers older rhythms. Not consciously. Through sensation. Through the quiet relief felt when darkness deepens fully. When light finally withdraws. When nothing interrupts. In those moments, the body softens. Breath deepens. Muscles release. Awareness drifts. Not because it is guided, but because nothing resists it. This response remains. It has not disappeared. It waits. The night still carries that memory. Even when diluted. Even when postponed. When light yields space, the body responds. Quietly. Without instruction. This is not nostalgia. It is recognition. Recognition of a condition that once shaped rest naturally. Light once mattered because it ended. Darkness once mattered because it arrived fully. Together, they shaped rhythm. Rhythm shaped rest. Rest shaped recovery. Nothing needed explanation. Nothing needed to be remembered. The night did its work. When light lost its weight, the work became harder. Not impossible. Just effortful. But the body has not forgotten. It responds whenever space is given. Whenever darkness deepens. Whenever interruption pauses. The night does not demand belief. It waits. And when it is allowed to return fully, it still carries the body gently toward rest. The light does not need to return now. Nothing needs to change. There is no moment to mark. No ending to notice. The night continues without asking for attention. If you are still listening, you can remain. If you drift away, nothing is lost. The images will stay still. The sound will remain low. There is nothing to complete. No thought to carry forward. The night does its work quietly. And when attention fades, it fades naturally.